I want to share with you powerful tools and mindset shifts that you want to take on into a conversation with your partner. And number one, the most important thing is
be honoring.
Be honoring. You might think, well, what do you mean, be honoring? Isn't that like obvious? I'm nice to people. Be honoring on the deepest level that you could possibly be honoring of your partner, which means you want to, and it might sound silly, but we forget about this all the time, you want to remember that they are an individual with their own desires and their own thoughts and their own space they are coming from. So especially when we're in a relationship with somebody for a long time, we can really intermix and intermingle, and we pretty much forget that they have their own values and desires and all of that. So be honoring. Take a step back and really see them for who they are. You can even pretend that you just met this person out on the street, because you would definitely be nice to that person, wouldn't you? Yeah. So be honoring. And, you know, this might be really common knowledge, but often common knowledge isn't necessarily common practice. So we want to just share a little bit something specific, which comes as an extension of the be honoring part. And that is, avoid trying to be right about your partner. Avoid trying to be right. So what does that actually mean? Could you explain that concept, because you're so good at that?
Thank you. Well, you could be right about that your partner is a certain way. So for example, he never cleans the room, or he is always late, or he never keeps his word, or anything like that. So even though he might behave like that, you being right about that and you being angry and upset and tense about that is only helping him do more of that and resist that he's doing that.
And you know, sometimes it's not even that obvious. It's not so much that you're upset with him. It's much more on a subtle level that somehow you're trying to be right about something. So being right really means that your mind has an idea of how something is. And subconsciously, we're proving that things are that way. So you want to be really, really ultra cautious of whether or not you're actually open to the possibility that perhaps your partner would love to do dishes, to just give a silly example. And, you know, just to turn things around, you have probably been around a person once that kind of had a certain idea around you. You know, like somebody who always says, like, you're so messy or whatever, or you always are late. And then you actually notice that around that person, that behavior comes up more often because that person has that expectation of you. So as simple as this might sound, it can make a massive, massive difference. So make sure that you're not trying to be right about something.
That is a big one.
Yeah,
yes.
Definitely.
And then the next important thing is to always take 100% responsibility for your emotions.
100%. Not 99, 100%.
And if that might sound like obvious again, and even though it does, like today I caught myself blaming Leonie for how I was feeling. She did something and then I was just started blaming her. And I was like, I feel annoyed because this and this and this. And then I realized, oh, I'm actually blaming you for me feeling a certain way. And then I said, I took that back and I realized I was just not communicating something that is important to me. And that is a completely different position that I started coming from. That gave me power. So
all of that drama and like crazy attachment that you can get in relationships that probably drives you mad comes from not taking full ownership of our emotions. So it has to be crystal ultra clear that whatever I'm feeling, Klemen can never be responsible for that. He cannot be responsible for that. What he's feeling, I can never be responsible for that. And when you take that in control, that's when you create freedom. And in a way, it's funny, you know, I think we all have a little bit of an addiction to blaming the other person. And I don't care how spiritual we all might be, everybody is guilty of doing this from time to time. But it's dropping it in a way might feel like giving something up.
Actually, you are giving up some satisfactory hormones that actually get released in your body, which is proven by research. And that's why blaming is actually so addictive.
As cocaine or something, right?
Yeah, or heroin, like whatever. And so there actually are benefits that you're getting out of it, but the cost of it is so much bigger.
Yeah.
You know, like feeling depressed and being unfulfilled.
And not having sexual flow.
Yeah.
Because taking full ownership of your relationship, it also means, and by the way, this can happen on a very subtle level, girls. Sometimes it's not like super clear in your face. So you want to really, really tune in and check in for yourself.
Because it can just come up in a form of you distancing yourself from your partner.
Yeah. And then you're not aware of what's happening.
Yeah, but actually underneath you might be upset or not speaking for what you really want.
Yeah, totally.
And with that, what we are committed to is being in a no-blame relationship.
A no-blame game, baby.
Yes, so which means that we're really committed to not blaming each other. And
when it does happen, we just look at it, we recognize it, we acknowledge it, and we are aware that that's what we're moving away from. And we have very clear agreements on that in our relationship.
Yes.
So that's very powerful. Also, if you feel unattracted to your partner, check what's going on. Oftentimes, subconsciously, you're either being right or you're trying to blame your partner on some subconscious level. And the moment you can completely drop that 100%, it's like magic. It's like, I'm super in love.
As she bites my head off. So how do you actually communicate with your partner in a way that is not blaming and in a way that it helps him open up instead of defend?
The million-dollar question, right? So the way to do that is to open up and share your core level feelings. So your core level feelings are what's really at the core of whatever upset might be going on. And this is often insecurity, it's fear, it's a desire. And what you put over that is like a layer of upset, of anger, of pushing somebody away. So really tuning in and seeing that core level feeling. And by the way, this is where you have so much power, because this allows you to fully tap into your vulnerability. And that is so much more attractive than saying, hey babe, what the fuck is going on? I just feel so disconnected from you. I don't know what's happening. Now that would be quite extreme, right? But I could also say something like, yeah, you know, you really make me feel like this and that. Or I could share, you know, when you do that, I actually feel really insecure. And then the other day when you didn't do the dishes, it just actually made me feel kind of hopeless because I'm so committed to doing it really nice. You know what I mean? And did I give a good example there? Give me some feedback.
The first part was good. The second one was like, it makes me feel hopeless, and then
it
almost made me feel like I'm responsible for emotions.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
if you say, it makes me when you do this, it makes me feel really insecure and feeling kind of lost because I really would love to be connected to you, and I don't know if I feel that.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, oh, you know. It's a different vibe.
So you want to make sure that you really tap into the underlying feeling, into your fears, into your deepest desires, into all of that. And while you're sharing it with your partner, that you can fully express what you're feeling, but that you're so clear that he's not responsible for it. Those are your feelings.
And then when she does that, I absolutely love it. It is a beautiful thing to just see her so vulnerable and open. And then it's a joy to connect.
Yeah, and it melts him. So, and
like an ice cream.
Yeah, and sometimes I feel like I've done it all, like I've tried everything. But then honestly, when I really tune in and I'm like, oh, you know, I'm just really feeling this and that. And then I can see a shift happen immediately, like literally like ice cream standing in the sun. And he's just opening up and able to like connect with me. Because it is very powerful to show your man what impact some of his behavior has on you. But you got to do that in a way in which you're taking full responsibility. Does that make sense?
It does. It
Awesome.
does.
Good.